Hello and welcome to another mind-bendingly interesting episode of the restoration of Noel. Here he is with all his steering gear on and looking a bit more complete than last time you saw him. He's got his axle on, it's level, the springs are on, the shocks are on. We're making reasonable, steady progress. Just to remind you all, for all of the new subscribers that haven't looked back at the other videos, this is Noel. He's my 1961 short wheelbase Land Rover that I used to own 20 years ago. I found him languishing in a garden in Grangetown, Cardiff, where he was rotting away and losing the will to live. I bought him back last year, and this is how far we've got with the restoration. So I've started off with the camera on the tripod, and I just want to show you how smooth the steering is. I've been spending time reconditioning all of the steering track rod ends and rods, and now they're all bolted in. I'm just going to move away from the camera, so I hope you can still hear me okay. I just want to show you how smooth this is now. I'm not sure if you can see me in shot, but check this out. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's such a smooth action. There's no play. It is absolutely glorious. Just going to take you through what I've done. I'm going to take the camera off. There we go. Come on, that's it. So, come down here with me where you can see. These are the original track rod ends that Noel came with. And amazingly, after a bit of a refurb, they are totally reusable. I'm just getting my pointing stick. So, we have cleaned them up. We have fitted new rubber boots there and there, and we have also drilled and fitted them with grease nipples. We've cleaned up all of this, repainted it, recut all the threads here so we make sure the clamps all properly clamp, cleaned up all the threads on the track rod end, cleaned up all the threads on the steering bars. They were in a right 2 and 8. I wasn't sure whether they were going to make it, gotta be honest, but they've cleaned up all brilliantly. This one is a particularly old one because we still got the split pin going through a castellated nut, whereas on these ones we just have a nylock arrangement. So those ones are obviously being replaced in Noel's lifetime, there's no doubt about that. But this one over here could well be an original one. Who knows? It's certainly the original type with a split pin through it. Well, I cleaned them up. I drilled and tapped the base of the track rod end, here, and fitted a grease nipple. They all grease beautifully, and they all work beautifully. So I'm absolutely rapt that I haven't had to fork out for new track rod ends, and probably inferior quality ones at that. But talking about inferior quality, last time I mentioned about the U-bolts. You can see that the U-bolts are on. However, we've still got an issue with the U-bolts. If I can just get the camera in focus here. So I bought these U-bolts from eBay. I spent my time trying to make sure that I was buying the correct ones with the correct thread. I certainly didn't want to have a metric thread on them. I was going to reuse the old U-bolt, if you remember, but my friend Rog dissuaded me from doing that. But now, look at the issue we've got going on here. If I can get the camera down without it going out of focus. So, the threaded part of the U-bolt is not really engaged with the nylock of the nut. So they're just too short, which is pants. And they're going to have to come off. Over here, the different U-bolt, which is this one, a slightly different shape, is absolutely fine. That's how it should be, with thread protruding from the nut, eating into the nylon part, which, you know, stops it then from vibrating loose. As you can see over here, they're rubbish. Look at that. You can see that the thread is not even getting anywhere near the nylon part of that nut. So that's completely pants, and typical, I think, of when you buy new parts, which is what I'm trying to avoid sort of everywhere I go. I just point out the reason we've got this grease there is because I ended up having to take a leaf out of the leaf springs to try and see if that would alleviate the problem with the amount of thread, but it hasn't. I mean, we've now got 9, this is a 9 leaf sprung front spring. It was originally 11. I've had to take 2 out of it. Noel originally had 9 leaves in his springs, which are now back on Bess. So Bess is still all complete. So these are Bess's old springs, which I have refurbed, reconditioned, whatever you, however you want to say it. But yeah, you've got to be so careful with these parts, and I was disappointed when I phoned up suppliers, Blanchards in particular, that were recommended to me. And talking to the guy there, he was very helpful, but then when it came to actually ordering stuff, he wouldn't take an order over the phone. I had to do it through the website. It just blows my mind, that kind of thing, to be honest. I'd much rather be able to, you know, do an order, speaking to a human being, but such is life these days. And also with Rimmer Brothers as well. They were even worse, because when I spoke to the chap at Rimmer Brothers to inquire about flexible brake hoses and asked him to measure them, he couldn't even do that because he was working from home and he didn't have access to the actual brake flexi hose. So that was just pants. Anyway, there we are. It's just a little update to keep all of you subscribers, keep you subscribing, basically. Show you what's been going on. My work circumstances are changing, so there's less time to work on Noel, unfortunately. But you know, he will progress, just not at the rate of knots that I was hoping. There we go. I hope you're all well. I hope you've enjoyed this little update. And I will see you the next time. Thanks very much. Bye bye.